Today on the Tom Kelly Show, your old pal Tom Kelly will talk about the Scripps National Spelling Bee and maybe a couple of personal stories about spelling bees and why I think spelling bee contestants are a lot like beauty queens. Also, I will talk about quiet vacationing. Shh, we're going away. Don't tell the boss. Plus, back to spelling bees, we might play a game called Word or Turd if I'm feeling that hacky. And we'll talk about affirmations and how they can affect your confidence. What do you say, people? Okay, got him fumbling with my glasses and almost poked my eye out on a podcast. What do you say we start the show? There you go. Little bit of smoothness. Yep, wait. Yeah, I hear it. There you are. There you are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, podcasting from New York City. Content warning, spoiler alert. Oh my gosh, let's just soulfully strut together. You are experiencing the Tom Kelly Show. This is the podcast where one stand-up comedian, me, Tom Kelly, gets back to having fun in life. I'm from Long Island. I'm a stand-up comic. I've worked at a lot of fancy-ass TV shows, and certain aspects of my career have been in flux. And a while, this used to be the comedy podcast of, we used to call it self-help comedy. And then I sort of changed the slogan to get back to the fun. And gosh darn it, that is what I've been doing. And I have some great adventures to tell you. I'm actually taping the show ahead of time. If I really cared about the numbers on the podcast, I would have released this podcast on Sunday, June 1st or 2nd. And instead, Sunday, June 2nd. Instead, I'm releasing it on a Tuesday because I just don't have time or the brain power to schedule things and then make sure all three websites are matching. That's the dumbass answer. But hopefully I'm in a car and I've just arrived in Maine, Higgins Beach, Maine, by the time you're hearing this. And my friend Andrew Garcia, I went to the Jones Beach Air Show with him, our friend Krista, and Andrew's beautiful wife, Stephanie. And Andrew sort of blurted out, "Hey, Tom, it looks like you're scaling back on the podcast. Is that because other things are taking off?" No, I without getting too into it, pros and cons. I don't want to blame anything on anything external, but I've been getting ambushed with bad comments for something that has nothing to do with you guys or this podcast, and we'll leave it at that. And also, there's the pressure of being great. And I'm going to give this advice to any of you guys who have your own creative process. We had her on this podcast once. She's taken off on TikTok. Whitney Uland. She's the one who coaches Celebrity Energy. And she had a episode about, well, if you don't believe your fans don't want you, it's not going to happen. Your energy's not going to shine through, blah, blah, blah. And, and I'm in that weird spot of I have this urge to be great and clippable and whatnot. So honestly, I've been working on my mindset lately and, trying to be more positive, less dark, less moody, whatever. And that's been hard with outside influences. F it. I'll tell you the story. At this point, there was a kid in the year 2018. He came to a Good Morning America concert. When I do these Good Morning America concerts, I find people who can sing. And usually they're amazing singers who belong on American Idol. And, and occasionally, more mediocre singers who are up for sing-alongs. But what I don't do is I don't let people scream into the microphone, go, rah, 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 whatever. We got to keep the energy positive. And there was a nice kid in the front, and I couldn't tell if he could really sing or if he was just screwing with me by saying he could sing. And what do you know? He couldn't.
Jets fan thinks he can sing. I can't tell if he's messing with me or not. What would you sing if you had 30 seconds? Havana? Let me see. Go for it. What do you got? Havana. Yeah, you're off.
Right? And, and he was just screwing with me. And I go to pull the mic back. And honestly, if I've done 1,000 singing contests, it's the first time I've ever had a kid grab the mic and try to pull it away from me so they could finish their song or whatever. And gosh darn it, I yanked the goddamn mic out of his hand. And I don't regret that part. I've never had anybody try to steal equipment from me. I mean, that's just bullying. And being clear, I'm running a feel-good singing contest, and this guy just starts yelling into a microphone. I don't know who he is. He's pulling the microphone out of my hand. Is he going to yell something awful or racist? I don't know. So, yeah, I yanked the microphone back. And I've been dealing with a lot of hate. But what I do regret and apologize for that day was I gave him the death stare that my father used to give me when I was in trouble. And I actually apologized for it that day. Well, little did I know, 6 years later, this kid would become famous for going up to celebrities in their private environments and singing their songs out of tune. And I got to give the kid some credit. He's actually really funny. He was actually gracious enough to accept my apology 6 years ago because, the death stare, I'm not the kid's father. That's the part of me, even though I feel whatever, you don't take equipment out of my hand, I didn't have to give the death stare. It's just, I'm about positive energy. That's not me. But that said, 6 years later, the kid becomes an Instagram/TikTok star with 1.5 million followers on TikTok. He posted the clip, and for 2 weeks now, it's dying down now. I shouldn't even be talking about this now, but hopefully people have forgotten me. Tom, you're fat. Tom, you're old. Basically, all my insecurities. I've said this about my videos that have gone viral lately with my Long Island success. There'll be guys who will post on a video that's doing well, and they're like, "You're not funny, Tom." And I'm like, well, that's okay. Just comment on a video that nobody liked and tell me I'm not funny there. That will hurt my feelings, buddy. Well, guess what? That's what these millennial kids do. A lot of, why did you snatch the microphone? Well, I mean, it was a 90-second clip. It's out of context. I look like a bit of a dick, or I feel I was painted as a bit of a dick, more of a dick than I feel I was. But anyway, and then a lot of, people going into my insecurities. This podcast is about a guy who feels fat, bald, out of shape, and God bless this generation of kids who grew up on TikTok with safe spaces gave me a reason to scream for needing a safe space. And so I slowed down on the podcast really because I just didn't want to, deal with posting anything and getting lots of hate comments. This podcast is meaningful to me. It's my connection with, a group of people. And, so that's what happened. So I've been doing a lot of positive affirmations in my head, and I'll, where is it here? I'll find a great one. I am affirmations. So what I've been doing is listening to, this should be a good one. A lot of these things are for wealth and abundance. Let me find a gratitude one. So it'll be here's a silly one. Let's see if this works. They're success affirmations. And honestly, I've been doing them, man. I've been doing them. I've been trying to get into my head. And honestly, as I've been doing these affirmations, things have been opening up for me. I just got booked for a big gig in Las Vegas. I have my vacation coming up in Higgins Beach. I got booked for another well-paying charity job the day I'm supposed to be on vacation.
I have all that I need.
So, but this is the fun. You'll listen to these affirmations, and it'll be like this. Life. Ready?
I am more than enough.
I am
full-hearted.
So you're supposed to repeat them.
I am special.
All right, this guy's a little fast.
I cannot change another person. I just let others be themselves, and I simply and solely love myself.
So I'll be honest, some of
I
these,
am at ease
so you have to be
with the
willing to skip
uncontrollable.
to the next one. This guy's way too fast for me. But it'll be like, I am enough. And the thing will say that, and then I'll repeat it. I am enough. And you know what, man? We have to get out of our mindsets, man. Get out of your mindsets. Get into the I can win crap. And even with this, bringing it back to Whitney Uland. You know what? These kids pointed out the truth that this podcast does not have a huge following, but it has a following of great people. We are a community. A strange community, maybe not a fully bonded community, but there'll be my friends who say hi, like Lori who says hi, and she always listens when she's showering. Marianne, Janet, Ryan, Dan, Brian, Karen, Tony. Now those are, and this is the weird thing with podcasting. I've said this before. Andy Warhol once said that everybody in America will one day be famous for 15 minutes. I'm going to argue that nowadays we'll all be argued for 15 seconds. A clip going viral, blah, blah, blah. Or we will all be famous with 15 people. And that brings me to a story my friend Matt Mariani told me this morning. Matt Mariani's son, I believe they call it train fanning, where the kid is in his teens and the kid goes to train stations and videotapes trains, puts them on YouTube, and people talk about it. And Matt said, man, this kid has a show and only 150 people listen to it every week. I'm like, dude, 150? That's not bad. Especially when you consider he's 15 and not doing it for a living. And that's sort of what we are here. We are a little community, and I did not like the outsiders coming into the community. So anyway, I came to the show today by sort of, getting into my head. You guys can't live without me. That's real. How cocky is it to say that? But when, oh my gosh, your lives are going to fall apart if there's not a podcast this Tuesday. And that's what I need to sort of get into the mindset of. That's what keeps people working and successful people creating. I totally had a whole list of things to talk about, and I have been derailed. But yeah, there you go. So I imagined a world where all of you people just could not get through your Tuesdays or Wednesdays without Tom Kelly in the morning. My friend Jack Switcherini told me he listens on his 2-hour commute each way to work. He will start his morning with Pastor Joel Osteen and then Tom Kelly. So I guess, you know what? And you know what? I am honored by that pairing. Though I just will point out that Pastor Joel will hit you up for more money than I will. Or maybe he won't. So we've had a couple of mini hits locally on Instagram. Actually, I want to say, I believe her name is Judy Stoll. Judy Stoll, if you are listening, I am paying attention to you. Though she says she doesn't have time for podcasts but loves the Instagram clips. Judy Stoll said, Tom, I recommended you for a bachelor party, but the people at the bachelor party think you make fun of Long Island too much. And, they want to see if you have other jokes. Would you please post other jokes? I don't want to post all my other jokes because then you post your whole act. And then when you come to see me, there's nothing there. And honestly, at this point, I'm just posting things that are fun to me in the moment. And if the universe and God reward me for my lack of strategy, there you go. There you go. Like at the top of the show, I don't know why I was so pushy to play it. Soulful Strut. That song has been stuck in my head. I don't know why, and maybe it'll be stuck in yours now too. So I have been obsessed with the Scripps spelling bee. And I've come to the realization that spelling bee contestants are the same thing as beauty pageant contestants to me. I'm obsessed with beauty pageant contestants and spelling bee contestants because what they really are two groups of people who are better than me, all competing to be the best at something, and most of them are going to lose, and then the losers, sometimes they cry. That's why I love Spelling Bees and Miss America and Miss USA. Now, there's for real. I've said this before on the show. In the case of beauty queens, you know me, I love 7s who think they are 10s. But it's the truth. Like beauty, like if you look at the women who are in beauty contests, they're gorgeous. But there's something about them that makes them think they're a little more gorgeous than they are. And I'm into that. And with Spelling Bees, I don't know. It's funny. When I was writing out the notes, one, I'm jealous of beauty queens. I am. I'm jealous of gorgeous people. And I'm jealous of spelling bee kids. I'm jealous of people who are smarter than me. And I remember I never, ever, ever had a shot of being the kid who won the spelling bee. And I remember the kid who won at least a round in my class. I think it was either Michael Rickson or a kid named John Jensen. I think it was Michael Rickson because I have not thought about that name in years. I think I just saw him pop up on Facebook and thought, oh, he won the spelling bee. And I could be wrong. But I remember we had the line in class, and I think I lasted 3 words. And then you had the spelling bee that went to the theater or assembly room, the general purpose room in our school. And then I think one of them would go on to Newsday, or maybe they would compete against the other elementary schools, and then somebody from the school district would be the one that goes on to the county, and then somebody from the county goes on to the state, and then it's like Miss America, isn't it? You work your way up from Little Miss Onion Farmer or Miss Petula County. I don't even know if there is a Petula County, but you get what I'm saying. Then you become Miss Region. Then you become Miss South Carolina. Then, you're in the top 10, and whatever it is, it's kind of like everything in my life. There's that narcissism of you're the best. And I know what you're thinking, Tom. Isn't that narcissism a little like stand-up comedy? No, or at least in my case, no, because my comedy comes from a little bit of self-loathing and I need your approval. And it's by getting your approval and getting you to laugh or getting you to think or getting you to listen to me that will make me feel important. And maybe if we're going back to Whitney Uland, celebrity energy coach on TikTok, maybe that's why I'm not famous. Because I need the approval where I don't know. But my desperation comes from self-loathing. I don't know if that's the same case with spelling bee contestants. They're, proving they're the smartest. Beauty queen contestants, they're proving they're the most beautiful inside and out. And, and whereas with me as a stand-up comedian, I'm just complaining about crap I don't like. But what I like about with beauty queens, my second cousin, Joe Naughton, once said, with beauty queens, he likes being involved in Miss New York because he likes to celebrate winners and console the losers. In beauty queens, I like to celebrate the winner and flirt with the losers. But with spelling bees, I don't know. I just want to say there is just some sort of psychological thing I am fascinated with. I'll give you 2 more spelling bee stories. Spelling bee story number 1. I shouldn't tell this story, but I don't think there's it's funny. I'm going to wallow in the fact that I don't think the podcast is super popular. I was editor of my high school newspaper and got kicked off for a number of reasons, but one for a real mistake that I made. My high school newspaper was done in the early days of being able to edit on a computer. We used a program called PageMaker. The school did not even have it. I had it myself on my home computer. And it wasn't the days of laptop computers. It was the days of I had a Macintosh Plus that was a permanently stationed single unit computer. So I took home everybody's floppy disks, and there was a big conspiracy by the sophomores to get at the advisor of the newspaper. And I'm not going to say any of their names, but they decided, we're going to turn in our articles later, not at all. And suddenly I was filling pages. I also had to edit the junior high section of the paper. And one of the articles was about, we will call her Lindsay Gianni. And Lindsay Gianni was in the Newsday spelling bee. And whatever kid typed up the article, I felt whatever the word was that she was kicked out for was not a real word. And this is before the internet, before I don't even know if I had a dictionary near me to look it up. So I thought I would make up a word later. And I put in the word cat as a placeholder, figuring by the end of the night, by the time I go to publication at 3 a.m, I will have come up with a harder to spell word. And I even put the word in bold. And then you may have gone through stuff like this with your Microsoft Words and whatnot. Eventually, I changed the format. The bold goes away. And when I brought the newspaper to the printer, I missed an awful mistake where it said Lindsay Gianni was kicked out of the Newsday spelling bee for misspelling the word cat. Great job, Kim. And I got kicked off the newspaper. I wound up meeting Lindsay Gianni years later at a stand-up comedy show. She had a blog about dating and asked me out for coffee. And I'm like, I am not going to receive the humiliation I accidentally caused you in return. Her parents were very mad, complained to Dr. Hahn, the executive director of the school, who said, you will never write for this school again, but managed to forgive me whenever I worked at a TV show and he needed tickets for his Bid for Kids charity auction. But yeah, I was kicked off the high school newspaper for that because of the spelling bee. And to be fair, there are people who think I was lying about that mistake, and I wasn't. It was a genuine mistake. I genuinely felt awful. There were 6 or other problems with the newspaper that they didn't like, including maybe a couple of jokes about the class behind us had a lot of kids drinking in class, but again, I'm talking about high school stuff here, but I felt there were kids doing bigger things than I was getting in trouble for. I would always get in trouble for having an untucked shirt, but the kids who were coming to class drunk somehow did okay. And I wasn't the only one who felt that way. But we're going somewhere with all this, which is, spelling bee people, be serious. Spelling bee serious. There's so much more I wanted to talk about, but I'm going to leave this as a 22-minute show, and maybe I'll just get ahead on the damn podcast. Folks, I hope you had fun with this. And, listen, if you have time to show love where love can be shown, and I mean this for real, if you can share the podcast with somebody who might like it, if you can... share the podcast, man. Share the podcast with someone who might like it. If you can comment, publicly and tell me you like something on my Instagram, that's always helpful. And if not, just keep doing what you're doing. This is... So it's funny, like Andrew was saying, you're scaling back on the podcast. No, the podcast is still here. This is the launch pad for my creativity and adventures, and it's more fun to do it with you guys. I wanted to play Word or Turd. All right, really quick, Word or Turd. It's a game I wrote. Really quick, the game goes like this. I want to finish up with this. Word or Turd. All right, here's how it works, folks. I pick a game show. I'm going to name a word, and it's either a real word from the Scripps spelling bee, or it's a euphemism for pooping. So play along out loud in your head. If I say the word, so here we go. Ready? So if it's a real word from the spelling bee, say word. And if it's a euphemism for poop, say turd. Here we go. Diotheism. The answer, word. I don't know why I'm giving you sound effects. It's only because I have them. Number 2, turd. Number 2 is a euphemism commonly used in everyday language to refer to defecation, especially when speaking to children. Asceticism. Word. Severe self-discipline and avoidance of all forms of indulgent, typically for religious reasons. Let's get to the end. The end is more fun. Scat. Word or turd? Oh, you said turd, and that's correct. Scat is a term primarily used by biologists to refer to the feces of wild animals, and it helps in studying animal diets and habits. You know what? I'm going to save this game for another time. I've got things to do today. So listen, folks, show love where love can be shown. I am grateful to you guys. Have a great week. Good night, New York City.